Darlings, it's Mummy, Sybil Brunson, and I'm doing one of my rare Tourette's right now. I've basically given up doing Tourette's because I basically, let's just be honest, shall we? Let's call a spade a spade. About 7 of you are watching them. Nobody's looking at my, first of all, no one's reading my stories anymore, and no one is looking at my photographs, and no one is even listening to my Tourette's. So I've sort of withdrawn from bothering to do them because they don't seem to really matter. You're all being so inundated with so much stuff that, what is one small voice in a sea of 8 trillion? Anyway, but for the 5 or 6 or 7 of you that care about my garden, here's my garden as of today. It is mid-April, and this is my back deck, and you can see that for those of you that even bother to watch or compare, my flowers are way behind where they normally are for this time of year. It was the winter. It was that long 20-degree, 6 feet of snow for 10 weeks winter that did it. The winter, at least it was wet, unlike last year when everything was freeze-dried because there was a drought and cold. But this winter, it was brutally cold for way too long and way too much snow burying everything. So, for instance, my blue-eyed grass, which is not a grass actually, but which is a cousin of the iris family, is completely behind. My lavenders, look at this. My lavenders died way back. Everything in this pot died way back. The only lavender that seems to be alive are these 2 little stubbits. The main branches are gone. I haven't cut them back yet because, and you could see the wood. You could see that they were actually turning into cute little treelets, and but they just couldn't survive this year. So, and of course the rosemary and thyme is gone too. And even my centauri flowers are gone. There's one shoot, but this pot just took too much of a hit from the brutal cold and the snow that buried it. Amazingly, these anemones, I planted these maybe 4 or 5 years ago. They are thriving and are adorable. I mean, is there anything that is more woodland looking or country garden looking? I mean, look at them. They're just breathtaking. They survived. They're in their pot. They're just lovely. Of course, I'm going to deadhead those long stems. I might get a second flush of flowers, not as thick, but I might get a second flush. But I'm just grateful that they're still alive and well and just beautiful. Over here, there's a sedum which continues to be healthy but won't flower. I'll have to figure that out. And then in these pots, I've planted annuals. You can see there's Calabracula there and there. And these are osteospermums. No snickering about the spermum stuff. Osteospermums, which I just planted. And here we have an experiment. Mummy is experimenting with a poppy. I love the poppy flowers. They don't last long. The foliage is kind of droopy, isn't it? And but I do have some extra buds. There's 4 or 5, maybe 6 more buds. I hope they last. I can't figure out if this poppy wants more water or less. It seems that when I let it dry out, it really wilts. And then when I water it, they don't stand up very much. So maybe that's just what they're going to do. They are supposed to be a perennial, but they're fragile perennials. So this may only be an annual for me. And I do wish that these poppies were a little bit redder. They're red for about 4 minutes when they first open, and then they start to bleach out that anemic pink, which is annoying. Here's my little, my cute little topiary tree, which continues to plug along, and I'm trying. It needs to be watered every day, of course, so that it doesn't die of thirst. Over here, we have a curry plant, a jasmine cutting, and an aloe. Those were indoor plants. I'm having them out here for right now. And here's some osteospermum. There's a veronica, which I raised very successfully on Fire Island in pots. Here's candy tuft. There's another osteospermum waiting to bloom. And this is a clematis, which is absolutely gorgeous. It loves having that candy tuft buried at its feet to keep its roots cool, but its heads in the sun. So it likes to have its foliage up in the air, really sunny, but it likes to have its roots completely shaded and not hot. So I figured the candy tuft would work, and it just is so, those flowers look like they're from another planet, don't they? The reason I'm showing you all of this is because we just got, I can't believe it, we just got a weather report that everything is going to be cold tonight, and that it could be as bad as in the 30s. So have I blown it? Have I gone too far? Have I planted, well, certainly my annuals, and then even these perennials. The Veronica is a perennial. Clematis, the candy tuft, those are perennials. I hope I haven't screwed up, because they say that the temperature could drop into the 30s and even maybe the low 30s. So I don't know. I have some big black hefty garbage bags. Maybe I'll cut them open and try and drape some of these plants. Supposedly this cold snap is only going to be 24, 36 hours. And it's more important at night that they be covered over. The sun will warm them. Even if it's in the 30s, it'll be a nice thing for them to be in the sun. Anyway, we'll see. God willing and Mother Nature willing, you have seen my garden and you've enjoyed it as I have, and it will thrive, and it will be for the rest of the season. Otherwise, you've seen a bunch of plants that were in the pot for like 4 or 5 days and are gone. So my garden only may look like this for a matter of days, and that will be a quote unquote limited edition Tour-ette, Mummy's limited edition series, when we finally, Simon & Schuster finally publishes a library of my past film work. Anyway, that's all for now. I am going to do a Tour-ette of my front garden, and you'll see what I've been doing out there, and we'll just cross our fingers. And if you have any contact with the gods of gardening or nature or plants or annuals and perennials, please say those prayers for Mummy, and let's hope for the best. You'll know within 48 hours whether anything survived. All right, that's all for now. And boy, if there ever was a time to be present, to be mindful, and to be grateful, it's now. Because if you're going to lose all these plants, I just dropped all that money on these plants, then this is the time to really be aware of how fragile and temporary everything is, because everything you see and smell and taste and hear and touch and hold in your hand and your heart, everything is only borrowed. Remember that, darlings. Everything is only borrowed. Talk to you later.